This educational video deals with importing and manipulating variety of 3D files in a File2Part software. Let's open the file. We're opening 3ds file. We have to decide what dimension this file was created, and we want to make sure that part will fit in our build box. Our build box is 5 by 5 by 5 inches, so we select inches, and we select maximum dimension as a 4 inches, and we want to make sure that it scales appropriately. It scales to about 1/5 of the original size, and we open the file. When manipulating files, you can dynamically rotate it by pressing on the wheel of the mouse and rotating the mouse. You can look at the predetermined view from any position you want it to, and when you want to get out of predetermined view and everything else, please press on the right button of the mouse. And you're going back right now. First of all, I want to mention that at this point, this version of the software allows to load one three-dimensional file only. Follow-up version would be able to load several files at the time. Now let's look at the zooming feature. Zooming is fairly easy. You can zoom on any particular part, and you can always go to previous view or full screen view. Full screen view, it's a screen view, so every time you rotate the part on a screen, if you go to full screen view, it's going to expand the part to fill the screen. Now let's look at clipping feature. Clipping feature allows you to look inside of any particular part. In this case, when looking inside a car, we can see that car seats and car wheels not attached to the body of a car. You can also select any particular small part of an object. You can zoom on it, and you can dynamically rotate it separately to look at fine features of every file. You can look at it in a view with clipping and without clipping. You can also reset clipping if you wanted to and go to the original file. And again, when you reset clipping, you go to full screen view, and then you just remove clipping feature and continue doing what you were doing. Now let's look at the placing. Placing allows us to scale part when it's already loaded. In this case, I'm trying to rescale it to half of the size it was when I loaded it, so I'm changing 4 inches to 2 inches. When I look at it, I decided I don't want it, and I am rescaling it back to 4 inches. You can also position it in a build box by any angle, or you can rotate it. For example, I'm rotating it upside down. In order to do this, I'm choosing YZ axis and rotate it by 180 degrees. When I've done it, I'm not happy with this orientation. I can always go back by rotating it back, by resetting it, or changing any angle I wanted to. Now I wanted to show you some other feature of our software, which is a measuring tool. Why we put it in? Measuring tool allows us to measure the size of any fine features or any features on your file at the scale you want it to. For example, right now I am measuring the size of a car handle in order to determine if it can be printed. It's about 0.22 millimeters. It's just about close to the size of one layer. And in this case, I can choose if I want to print it or I just don't want to have this part printed. I can also look at the certain areas where I want to make sure that, for example, wheels are attached to the car body. We noticed it before that they're not attached, so we want to select this assembly, we want to zoom on it, and we want to measure the distance between the wheel and the car body. And the distance, the smallest distance is about 1.3 millimeters. So we want to add about 1.5 millimeter in order to make sure that wheel is going to be attached to the body of the car. Make sure we're measuring distance on a screen. So we want to be very careful positioning the part that you want to measure in parallel to the screen view. When you do this, you'll get pretty accurate measurements. Now, check slices feature. It's a very simple and primitive algorithm for a quick scan. Dark area shows us where material is going to be deposited during the build. And as you can see, in some areas, very little material right here is deposited. So probably this part won't have structural integrity and needs some editing and file fixing. And I'll show it in the next video. When we're done with it and when we're done with editing, we want to save this file. In this particular version, we're saving file only as STL file. In a future version, we're going to save it as File2Part, which would have all the color information and information about print parameters. But right now, I'm saving it as STL file. So when I import this file back, it's already scaled to right dimension, so I don't have to scale it anymore. But I do lose all the color information, so it imports back in a monochrome position, which is fine for all of the FDM printers right now. So let's go to the next video and explain file fixing